Hello, and welcome to another episode of Nine Go Through His Word, Nine Go Through the Bible. My name is Victoria Alfreda. If you're new here, welcome to the Word of God. Have you ever been in a place in life where you keep asking yourself if God really existed? You've been so burdened with life lately, and every time you pray, you get that kind of silence that you do not understand. Your answers are not being answered. The silence that makes you feel like as if God doesn't want to answer you or does not want to talk to you or solve your problems at all. Maybe you ask yourself, am I a child of a lesser God, or what is really happening in my life? Like you've been praying and waiting and hoping, but nothing seems to be changing. Like you wake up every day believing that something will shift, but the same problems are still there. The same unanswered prayers, the same uncertainty about the future. You are so exhausted about the same things. And the devil is a liar. Because in those quiet moments, a question begins to whisper in your mind like, God, do you really exist? And if you do, why are things like this? Are you even working? Are you even listening to me? Are you hearing my prayers? Can you see me? If that's where you are right now, I want you to hear this very clearly. God is working behind the scenes, even when you cannot see it yet. Just because you cannot see movement, it doesn't mean that God has stopped moving. Just because you do not understand the process or the bigger plan of God does not mean that God has abandoned the plan. There are moments in life where heaven seems so quiet, but quiet does not mean it inactive in this life. Think about a seed. When a seed is planted in the ground, in the soil, nothing happens in the surface for a while. Yeah? Even if you went running outside your house every day, it's still the same result. You might think nothing is actually happening, but under the soil, something incredible is taking place. Something that your bare eyes cannot see. The roots are forming and life is slowly developing. You know, in its own time, growth will come. And that is how God works in your life. When you're worried, God is arranging things for you. When you're waiting, God is preparing. When you're busy questioning Him, He's aligning things that you cannot see yet with your eyes. Sometimes God works behind closed doors that you even never knew existed. He could be moving circumstances that you cannot control. He blocks dangers that you can never realize were coming. You might think the delay means denial, but many times delay is divine preparation. What God is preparing for you is bigger than the moment you are in right now. And that means the process might take time. Think about the story of Joseph. Joseph had a dream from God, but instead of the dream coming true immediately, his life seemed to fall apart. First, he was betrayed by his brothers, and then he was thrown into the pit, and then he was sold into slavery. When he was sold into slavery in Egypt, he was falsely accused by the wife of the king, and then he was thrown into another prison there in Egypt. Imagine how confused Joseph must have been. God gave him a dream of greatness when he was a young boy, but everything happening in his life looked like as if it was failure. But here is what Joseph did not realize at the time. God was working behind the scene. Every step, even the painful ones, were positioning him for something greater. The pit or slavery or prison, those were not his endings. Those were just chapters in the process. And eventually, God brought Joseph from the prison and put him in the palace. In just one single moment, everything changed in Joseph's life. And you know why? Because God had been working the entire time. And the same is true for you right now. Right now, there may be things that are happening in your life that don't make sense. Maybe doors are closing or plans are falling apart. Maybe people are leaving your life. Delay you didn't even expect is just everywhere. Your life is just all over the place. But think about it this way. What if the things that you think are setback are actually divine setups? What if God is protecting you from something that you cannot see? What if he's just preparing you for something far greater than what you asked for? Sometimes God hides the process because if you saw the entire path, then it might overwhelm you. Imagine if Joseph saw his whole journey of being sold into slavery and then thrown into prison. He would be so overwhelmed. So instead, God asks us to do something powerful, and that is to trust Him. To trust Him one step at a time with all of our heart. Faith is not believing when everything is clear. Faith is actually believing when everything is so unclear. Faith says, even if I don't see it, God is still working. And the truth is, some of God's greatest miracles are happening in places that we cannot see. The greatest miracles happen in conversations that we are not even part of, we are not even present there, in decisions that are being made that will eventually affect our life in time. His miracles are actually happening in opportunities that are slowly being prepared for the right moment. You may be feeling like nothing is happening right now. It's okay, but heaven is never idle. And God is never late, you can be sure. And His plans are never ever forgotten. So if you're in a season whereby you feel like you're waiting, the season of waiting, don't lose hope. Your story is still unfolding slowly by slowly. Your breakthrough may be closer than you think, because while you're watching the surface, God is working behind the scenes under there. And at the right time, when the right time comes, when the time is very ripe, what He has been preparing for you in secret all these years or all this time will suddenly appear in your life in ways that you never expected. So don't be discouraged. Just keep praying, keep believing with all of your heart, and keep trusting in God. Because even when you do not see it, God is still working. You can be sure of that. That is my message for today. I hope I encourage someone. If you feel encouraged, please share this with a friend. Until next time, I love you all with the love of Christ. Bye bye.